Where to begin? The Nightmare Realm is not the kind of place you would ever want to visit, let alone find yourself trapped in. It's a realm of darkness, death, and most of all, fear. The landscape of the realm is twisted and deformed. In places it appears as though it is moving unnaturally, and sometimes it looks as though it itself is alive. All the trees and bushes are skeletal, barren of leaves, dry, and devoid of colour. The ground is cracked and broken, like dry clay, and the air is so dry it sucks the moisture from the mouth, leaving you begging for water. There are buildings, villages, and even cities, but they too are deformed, twisted, and broken, bustling with cannibals, monsters, and beings that make the skin crawl. But to me, they will always be shadows in the distance, under a crimson sky. My name is Layla Myers, and unfortunately I have found myself trapped in this realm. I can't remember how, I don't exactly know when, but I do remember why. I am one of the many operatives under the employ of the Portal Detection and Concealment Agency, an agency that works to keep the world safe from the dangers that the imagination can create. You see, the main purpose of the agency is to capture entities that have escaped through invisible tears in space. These tears are usually created if an individual of our species has a consistent thought or a detailed enough idea of a creature, being, or species, but don't act on putting thought to paper, in a manner of speaking. These beings can come into reality anywhere in the universe, unless the energy used to create them is used in the creation of a piece of media, such as a book, movie, or drawing. If this happens, the being will be kept in a pocket dimension in the form of that piece of media, unaware that they are just sitting on someone's shelf, as a whole world and life is created around them, branching from the created story. If the entity does come into existence because the energy was not used, and the unknowing creator continues to think about the creature consistently enough, a tear in space will form, and by any means necessary the creature will appear within the immediate vicinity of the individual, which is when our operatives show up to capture the being and attempt to restore normalcy to all parties involved. But enough of that. I'm part of the team that works to learn more about the energy that our imagination creates, and we were learning what happens when we have dreams and nightmares. We realised that if we are constantly creating new entities unknowingly, why haven't we seen any from what we create in our sleep? It took us years to find it, but we did. We realised that there had to be a place where these beings were being created, a place where our dreams and nightmares were reality. So, we searched for traces of the energy left behind by the imagination of our two test subjects. We gave them both different incentives. One was given photos of their family and friends, while the other was placed in a room with all of their fears. As we were attempting to cause one of them to have a dream, the other a nightmare. As suspected, the experiment worked, and we managed to create two streams of energy. On the monitoring devices, one appeared black and spiking like lightning, whereas the other was a radiant blue, gently flowing like water. We had no way of tracking the energy to a physical location, but we recognised that the two energies merged before disappearing from the view of the monitors. They had created a small mass, which we can all but assume joined with the rest of the collected dream energy of the world. We labelled it the Dreamscape, and began working to open a doorway to the realm created by this energy, hoping we were right about creatures being created by this energy to help us further understand our reality. Admittedly, things get fuzzy for me at this point. I remember finding the energy actually working on the experiments to enter the dreamscape, but I don't remember which experiment actually worked. The first thing we tried was firing electricity into the energy to see if it would open a doorway. It had no effect as the energy didn't even react. We tried with varying levels of voltage, but nothing impacted the streams. We then tried magnetising the energy to try prying it apart. This experiment was more of a failure than the first and resulted in damaging our own equipment. We didn't stop at scientific methods though. Lucid dreaming was attempted, dream catchers were brought in. The more we tried to work with the energy, the less was happening for us. The reality was that we were having so many issues because we didn't even know how to contain the new strains of energy like we did the original. I honestly was so excited to do the experiments and find this realm, but I was having more issues than I had with anything before. I can't really remember much else past the experiments. Heck, I can't even seem to remember all of the experiments anyway. After a while, they begin to fade, and for a while, it's like I blacked out, but something must have worked because of what happened next. I woke to a thud, landing on my back, head facing the sky, delirious. I sat up, cross-legged, and put my head in my right hand. I seriously need a new bed. I thought I heard my ears pounding, but it was followed by a hissing, whispering voice. "Can I help you up?" I jumped up onto my feet and stepped back 2 paces, eyes now wide, looking at what appeared to be some monstrous culmination of a zombie, a lizard, and a clown. "What the hell are you, and what are you doing in my room?" Without saying a word, the creature shot one of its eyes up and looked at the sky, looking around for a second and then smiling to himself. I followed the gaze. I looked towards the ceiling, only to see it wasn't there, and the sky was a deep red.